Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I'm so excited for this one because in this video, we are going to be discussing rearranging the mind. This is something that Neville Goddard talks about in one of his lectures, and I think it's a really important lecture because he not only explains how we are different from one another and what we can do to further really change the future, create a different reality for ourselves moving forward. But he also explains a law that I actually haven't heard other people expand upon. So I just wanted to make this video and talk about it and hopefully provide some clarity and inspiration. In one of his lectures, he talks about rearranging the mind, and there is a law that he brings up quite frequently. It's called the law of liberty, and this law states that your consciousness, as you are watching this video, you have free will to choose and entertain ideas. You have free will to choose the thoughts that you want to entertain. There's infinite ideas, and you can assume the story that you want to assume. So, how does this play in to affirming and thinking our lives to be a certain way? Well, it's very simple. Every single person on this earth, every single one of us, we have a very unique coding, the way that our brain is wired. We all have different arrangements of the mind. And in this lecture, Neville is continuously talking about the law of liberty because he wants us to understand that you have the freedom to assume the ideas that you want about yourself and about others, and what other people think of you is none of your business, and as well as what other people think of themselves, that's none of your business. So you being the only consciousness that really matters, because, well, you can't live in somebody else's body. You are the only thing that matters, and you have free will. You have the free will to assume ideas and thoughts. You can entertain certain thoughts to the point where they become beliefs. And this is where the assumption part comes in. And if I'm not mistaken, which I'm sure somebody will tell me if they know better than I do, but I'm pretty sure he spoke of the law of liberty before he came up with the law of assumption. Now, they go hand in hand, so it doesn't really matter anyway, but you can assume a story of yourself, a version of yourself that lives in your imagination, so you know it to be true because imagination is God. You can assume this version of you that exists in your imagination and continue in that story and persist in that story until it hardens into fact. And what does it mean to harden into fact? It just means that it comes to die on this earth, because manifestations, when they arrive on earth, that is past thinking. That is past ways. It's done. You've milked all of the energy out of that manifestation, essentially, and it just comes to pass. This is the land of the dead. This is where things come to die. It sounds morbid when I say it, but it should be very cool to think about, because we can live in our imagination and create the story that we want and continue to feed that story until it comes to pass. And if we want to keep it, then we continue to feed ourselves that story. And if we don't want to feed it, then we move on to a different reality. We move on to a different set of assumptions. That is the bottom line of rearranging your mind. You have the ability to change your future. You have everything that is needed within you. Not one man, not one circumstance can hold power over you. So let's get into how to rearrange your mind. And I also wanted to state here, I think this would be the perfect time to kind of use an example, because Neville in his lecture, he talks about how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. This is a perfect example of different arrangements of the mind. It's not because one person is better than the other. The only difference is that one person sees the abundance in life and is conscious of it and sees money as its friend and thinks of it in a good or neutral state, and the other person sees it in a negative light, is repelling it. That's the only difference. Their stories are different. So this is very helpful for us when we want to change our future and we want to change our reality. We want to see certain things manifest. Because what I do, I have my journal right here. I'm like patting it right now. I take my journal and I write a new story. And that story feels very, very good to me. It evokes the feeling state of what it would be like for me to have that thing. If I need to change my relationship with that subject, that's what it's there for. That's what the story is there for. I change my conception of myself and my relationship to that thing. And once I do that, I read it every night before going to bed. And I feel myself to be in that state. And I go about my day. I think something that is just imperative to understanding, and Neville talks about this as well, and eventually one of these days I will not sound like a broken record and keep repeating Neville's name, but when he's talking about the great I am, that really is the only that self-concept will take you home. That'll bring you everything that you want. Genuinely. Knowing that your imagination is God. Do you need anything else? Knowing that infinite intelligence lives within you and can give you anything and everything that you want. I mean, of course, there's other self-concept affirmations that you can use, but knowledge is power, and knowing who you are, I mean, knowing who you are and what you can have, like it's your birthright. You're inherently given this power. Unconditional love. That is the ultimate self-concept that you need. And anything that trickles down, any type of manifestation, well, why do you want this? Because I am. Because I said so. Because I don't need to justify myself. Because that's what I want to experience. Because like you don't need to prove your worthiness or unworthiness. You want it because you want it. You want to experience that story. So I hope this helps, writing a story and also creating a space for you to enjoy this story. I've had this idea in my head. In my head, I think of painters, and when they're painting and creating on a canvas, they have a white blank canvas in front of them when they start creating, and the end result is always perfect and just so stunning. Like, I love watching those TikToks. I don't know about you guys, but I love watching those TikToks of people creating things, and art is such a beautiful thing. But when they first start, I never know where it's going. And they just keep going. They just keep going, and they keep unfolding this plan. Allow yourself to finish the painting. Allow yourself to finish the story. And for me, when I think about creating a blank space, creating a blank canvas, I think about meditating. I think about grounding myself. I think about my stability. That's number one. And creating that foundation where I'm like, okay, the slate has been cleaned. I am at a neutral or better feeling state. Let me absorb my story. All right, my camera died and I cannot find my battery charging pack thingy. So allow yourself to create the story and allow yourself time to paint the canvas fully. Persist in it until you say that it's finished. It is not finished until you say it is finished. And continue in that story. Continue persisting in that state. And if you want to have a blank canvas, which is usually right before you go to bed or right when you wake up, you have a very clear canvas. When you go to affirm, you want to feel as though it is evoking the state. And that's it. That's it. You will be naturally led. You will be naturally led to your manifestation. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.